Welcome to Duos, the podcast where we celebrate the most iconic duos that have shaped our world. I'm Cart,
I'm Mox.
and each episode will break down the chemistry, influence, and impact of these duos, ultimately deciding who reigns supreme in their category. Whether you're here for the camaraderie, the hot takes, or just some good old-fashioned debate, get ready to discover the most dynamic duos in existence. This is Duos.
All right, so let's get into today's topic breakdown. When you look back through history, sports have always been at the heart of entertainment, community, and culture. Every country has its pride. New Zealand got rugby, England has soccer, okay, fine, football, and India rules at cricket. But America, the land of the free, we got the greatest game of all. That's right, I said it. Nothing beats American football.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into it, baby. And if we're talking football,
Yeah.
nobody embodies it better than the NFL. There's something magical about waking up on a Sunday morning, flipping on the TV, and seeing your team gear up to take on the division rival. The energy, the passion, it's electric, and there's nothing like it. But what makes this sport even more special is its dynamic duos that have graced the field. Whether it be the legendary Joe Montana or Jerry Rice or the unstoppable Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith, these duos were the perfect match, making this rough and bloody sport one filled with beauty and precision. So join us as we dive into the history, the magic, and the unmatched chemistry of some of the greatest NFL duos of all time. Ready, set, hike.
Yes, sir. Let's get
Yep.
it going.
Let's go. Let's go. I thought the
That was
music
great,
kind of
bro.
like get the vibes
Oh, that's
up.
hype. And that's something no, that's something maybe we'll talk about this episode too,
Yes, sir.
because there's something about openings of opening theme songs and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot that get you
Oh yeah.
really set the
Get your juice.
tone
Mm-hmm.
uh for a couple hours of sitting on the couch
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
and yeah.
I spent a lot
But
of
being
Sunday.
but being
Yeah.
but being like ready, like just
Yep.
like
Yep.
I've never been more hyped. It's like you're being a couch potato, but like you're
Yep.
just
Juice.
you're juiced, a juice
Yeah.
potato. You're just like a
Yup. A
juice
juice
potato on that
potato.
couch. Um,
I guess that kind of goes into a question I had for you. We kind of talked about it, but we both have different relationships to the game of football and I guess to the NFL. But what in particular makes the game of football or the NFL special to you?
what makes it special to me? I played a little bit, I guess, in like an intermediate, just with you boys. It was more so just to hang out with the boys, really, and that's what everyone was kind of doing at the time. But it was good fun, the camaraderie. Football going. It's a physical sport. You know what I mean? You're going to battle with your brothers. Just seeing how you and some of our closest friends have taken the field together. Yeah, it's inspiring. It's a sport that's very heroic, patriotic, and no, it just gets you pumped up for every single weekend, and it's
Yeah.
just something to look forward to, especially when you're playing fantasy
Yep.
or you're betting on some boys on the side as well. That has become a bigger thing. It's just such a fun like American game, and it's really blown up. I think over the past couple decades, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a big part of American culture. Yeah, there's just so much I could say about the game of football. It's a hard question to answer, but what do you
Yeah.
think? To you, I know it's more of a personal tie to the game as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, what does the game of football mean to you?
Yeah, I guess like there's like two aspects of it: the player and then the fan. As a player, there's just so many life skills and lessons that I've learned through playing the game. A lot of great memories, and I think a lot of the stuff you talked about from your time resonates with me with camaraderie and the aspect of being together on a team. I've played a good amount of different sports, but I think the togetherness of a football team is a little different just because of how physical it is and
Yeah.
dangerous. The level of trust is like another level because of that too. Because if someone doesn't communicate, if someone makes a bad pass or anything like that, a coach calls the wrong play. Even goes to the coaches. Someone could get seriously hurt, and so because of this, it's like the togetherness and the trust is another level within a team. And then outside of being a player, just being a fan, it's hard to really boil down just how like special it is to, like I kind of said in the intro, like waking up on just every Sunday, getting hyped to just sit around, eat junk,
Yeah. Yeah.
and just enjoy the game. And then when you look at the Super Bowl and just how special of an event that is,
Yeah.
I've never been there and stuff, but I'm sure it's special there. But even just watching it, just the commercials, the halftime show, it's a
Yeah.
great game.
The Super Bowl. Yeah, I've been blessed to go to one here in LA as
Yeah, that's
well.
right.
But no, it truly is, and especially when you see it in person, it's like it is the biggest show like in
Yeah,
America on that day. It's just crazy the amount of like superstars, celebrities, everything that's at the game, the hype, and some of halftime performances being some of the biggest concerts slash
yeah,
performances like in history, really,
yeah. The
of
one you went to
America.
was special too, with it was Snoop, 50, Kendrick
Like
Lamar.
Kendrick, yeah, I was on the backside of the performance, but still,
Yeah,
it was a lit
that's
environment to be in.
unbelievable. Yeah,
Um,
do you want to kind
y-
of just talk about like maybe the definitions that we have for the category?
oh,
Like
sure, yeah, yeah.
kind of like, I guess, what
Like
would
criteria.
make, yeah, the criteria of what would make a dynamic NFL duo.
Yeah, of course, when you're thinking about just dynamic NFL duos in general, it's kind of a broad, of
Yep.
course, category. There's just so much involved with the league and everything. There's the entertainment aspect. There's a network aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like how we're delivered all
Mm-hmm.
this, the games and the content and the programming. Of course, you got to talk about like the greatest player duos to
Mm-hmm.
take the field. So mine, I think each of my picks kind of hits on a different head
That's
of
awesome.
what surrounds kind of the NFL. I think I feel like I needed to do that because I couldn't get like, for me, it's like I couldn't get too into the stats of player duos.
Yep.
As I'd probably have say some controversial things that I don't know if you'd agree with. Yeah, what makes a dynamic NFL duo to you?
I think you touched upon a lot of great stuff. I mean, I remember when we first went over this topic. I know you were a little worried about the difference in knowledge of the NFL and everything, and I think once I kind of like assured you that, that, I mean, we could do a broad range
Yeah.
of what the NFL is, because it really is a multifaceted business um and everything. And so I think, there's so many different aspects within the game of football, even. You got player to player, you got player and coach, you got coach and
Mm,
owner, coach and GM. Like there's so many different facets of it that you could go a lot of different directions here. I think when it comes to a dynamic player, coach, like guys directly impacting the game, I think there's a level of these two people elevate each other to another level. And I think when it comes to this, there's like a level of trust and almost like a blind trust where you don't have to communicate anything, nothing has to be said, but you know each other so well that nothing has to be said, nothing has to even be thought. It's just you guys are almost like one. And I think you
mhm.
see this a lot with these different duos within the league, and this is what makes the game, like I said, this bloody brutal game, one of beauty and precision. So I think that's some things that make dynamic NFL duos. Let's get into it. I have the coin right here again.
Cool. I was
Um,
thinking, bro, maybe because you're the honorary the player and you played all throughout college. I was gonna just let you go ahead and go first.
Oh, I get the vet bonus right there.
Yeah, you get
Okay.
the vet
Uh,
bonus.
yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, if I'm going first, appreciate that. By the way, I think I have to go with what within our lifetime has been the most dominant duo of our lives, which
Within our
is
lifetime.
within our
Wait,
lifetime.
so it's
And yeah, do you want
including.
to guess this one?
Yeah, wait. Let me. It got to include the goat QB
Yes,
of
sir.
all time, Tom Brady.
There's so many duos with Tom Brady.
That's the
Like
thing with Tom Brady. You got Edelman. You
Tom Brady
got.
alone has the most.
You're
Like,
probably talking about. I mean, in my research too, I saw a lot about Tom Brady and Gronk.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So not player and player though.
Oh, and Bill.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Tom
Okay.
Brady and Bill
Respected pick.
Belichick. I mean, when you talk about just dominance, this duo was not. It wasn't almost like unbeatable, but you couldn't even read these two. Like you couldn't even
Scary.
like. Yeah, it's scary. Like when you're
Scary.
like I remember when I was like thinking about this duo and I was kind of putting myself in the shoes of a opposing coach trying to prepare for Bill Belichick's defensive scheme and then Tom Brady coming in and leading an offense. And there's not too much answers that I could even like comprehend of trying to stop either one of those two. I think the thing that made Bill Belichick so special is his knowledge of every little detail. There's so many references of players that played with him or played against him where Bill Belichick knew a certain cheat code almost within the rules and he would just abuse it. There's so many examples that I'm trying to like think of one. There's like one I remember that he would like I remember against the Jets, he would continue to take a penalty because it would just waste clock and they couldn't stop it. Like there
Damn.
was like actually no answers to like against it. And they just like cut to Bill Belichick and he's over there smirking, and
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's one of the most intimidating
Scoring.
things.
Hmm.
But if you talk about like just two cold-blooded killers, I think it was like the perfect combination of Bill Belichick, who really didn't care, and to the point where like I mean they got busted for some, I don't know if you want to call it
Deflate.
cheating, yeah, deflate, some where they like kind of like bended the rules on like film and what they can film and everything. um but I think both of these were just two cold-blooded killers within their own respective positions. um
Yeah, maybe
Going
guys are
over,
just trying to find ways to bring these guys down.
yeah,
Try to find like a fault of some
yeah,
cheat code that they were playing.
yep, yep.
Uh,
Because I mean,
to
they couldn't
explain
be
their
stopped.
dominance.
Yeah,
To
they couldn't
explain
be
their
stopped.
dominance. Yeah.
So looking over like some statistics, overall, they won together a record between quarterback and coach, six
Yep.
Super Bowl championships. They have 9 total AFC championships,
Mhm.
30 playoff wins, which is the most by any quarterback and coach duo as well.
Mhm.
Um, out of
Damn.
19 says out of 19 seasons together, they appeared in 17 playoffs. But yeah, no, I mean it's cool seeing Bill now in like talking about the game, and he's like kind of like an analysis type guy, and because now it's like he's kind of like has this humor to him, because for most of my lifetime he was just this stone cold, no emotion, killer of a coach. And then you pair that with Brady, it's the same deal, and stuff like really nice guy off the field and everything, seems like just a kind good dude. But the moment he gets on the field and you get like him running out and going, "Let's go,"
Yeah.
it's going to be a long game as a defensive
Yeah.
player. Because and there's nothing about him like his athletic ability that made him tough, but it's just his mind, his will, and just his inner confidence that no matter what happens in that game, he's going to just keep the course and keep on going, and precision, accuracy. For me as a DB, the hardest quarterbacks weren't necessarily the ones who could like throw it the furthest. Quarterbacks who like could run around were always like difficult to game plan for. But the hardest quarterbacks to guard a receiver on were the ones who were just super accurate because no matter how tight you play, if they put it in the perfect spot, it's there's nothing you can do about it as a
Hmm.
defensive player. Um, and so yeah, like together these two, Brady won 3 MVPs, Belichick won 3 Coaches of the Year,
Wow.
um, and yeah, I mean, I think just the amount of Super Bowls and the dominance that they were able to do, just winning games, I think does all the speaking for itself.
They
Yeah,
made a
there's just
name
like,
for New England as a
yep,
whole. Like
yeah,
they put New England,
100%,
yeah, football on the map. Like really
100%. I
elevated that sport within the city. I mean, you already
yep,
had the Celtics and like baseball, I guess
the
too.
Red Sox, yep,
But other than that, like the Pats weren't anything. I don't
no,
think they weren't that as much of a dynasty as they are
no, definitely
regarded
not.
as today. If it
I mean,
weren't for them,
I think like when you think of the Patriots like being like our age, you think of one of the dominant organizations within the NFL.
yeah,
Just because of how long throughout our childhood. I don't even remember a time where the Patriots weren't contenders, and stuff up
yeah,
until Brady
up
left.
until Brady, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And so I think this says everything about who they were as a duo. Um, and yeah, I think when it comes to like that time period, there has never been a duo that an opposing coach and opposing players probably were more worried about going against than those two on purely of like how are we going to win this game type of standpoint. Yeah, yeah, I think this is just one of the most dominant combinations of all time and stuff. So
would they remain the most dominant player coach combo of all time if Pat and Andy Reid end up
yeah,
beating them in number of ships?
yeah, it really just depends how old Andy Reid's willing to go and just how much more they can win within this time period. It's hard to win a Super Bowl. I mean, right now those two are making it look pretty easy, but I think even like Tom and Bill can attest. Like they won, I think their first three within the first 4 years being together, and then it took them a
It's
little
tough.
bit of time to kind of get back to it
Yeah,
because you put a target on your back and you kind of set the tone
yeah.
of like who to beat. And right
Hmm.
now, the Chiefs are that team. I
Hmm.
think it definitely can be done, but it's hard. It's hard to like replicate that level of greatness. And like we talk about like longevity and consistency, that level of longevity and consistency is um really hard to beat. Not saying it can't be done by Pat and Andy, but it's going to be challenging and it's going to take some time to really prove it. So
Yeah,
we'll see. It's cool that right after Tom leaves, we now have Pat to kind of like step in. Um, and
yeah.
so I'm
We'll see what he achieves. It's exciting just
yeah,
to this prospect of just what he can do because
what he
he's
can be. Yep.
yeah. But yeah, should I just move on to
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's
my
get into
first one?
yours.
My first one could be pretty quick because I think this is you might have some rebuttal against this as well. But yeah, basically it's just my first pick is just undisputed best QB wide receiver duo of all time,
Mm,
which might not necessarily include the greatest quarterback of all time or the greatest receiver of all time, but it's just in terms of stats and duos and just watching football growing up and everything. It's hard to you can't deny just the achievement that these two and the chemistry and longevity that these two put together. Uh, do you have any? Yeah. Do you have any guesses?
oof. Um, I have two different ones. I mean, the first thing I think of when I think of quarterback and wide receiver is Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. Um, but then when you talk about our lifetime, I think of
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Got to. Yeah, and I think just in terms of like we're talking just stats and
Hmm.
numbers, undisputed best QB wide receiver duo of all time. It's weird because in my research, I there's so many different like stats that different I don't know like sites
Yeah,
and blogs and videos are putting out. Like it's not sure, but I know it's a damn near a lot and it's damn near the most, or it definitely is
yeah,
the
yeah,
most.
yeah, yep.
Like I don't know why the stats are so off. Like some sites say 961 receptions, career catches together versus 1,102 career receptions
Interesting,
together. Like literally
interesting.
three different sites did three different things. But anyways, they have the most.
Yeah,
And I don't know if anyone will be able to break that because it's just like the amount of years that these guys spent together. and the connection that they built is next to none. So again, around 1,000 catches. I'll just say that 12,766 yards and 114 touchdowns together, the most by
Jeez.
any quarterback wide receiver duo. Like their connection was just uncanny. And the second most touchdowns, like you mentioned Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Hmm.
Um, oh, sorry, it's actually not Joe, but it's when Steve Young came in.
Steve, yep.
But second most touchdowns for a quarterback receiver player is Steve Young to Jerry
Mm,
Rice, and that's 92 touchdowns. So they're like the
jeez.
second most um, in terms of quarterback wide receiver. But I think Gronk and Brady actually have like 100, only nine less than
Wow.
um, than Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison.
For
So
a
they're
tight
like
end, that's kind of
for a tight
crazy.
end, that's tough. So that's like undisputed. Like I think they're the
Yeah.
best like QB tight end duo.
Yep.
Other than Philip Rivers, Antonio Gates, who we remember they had their connection was
Mm,
crazy too, right?
hmm.
And they had damn near like 90 touchdowns together as well. But and also there's a story that they have together, and this is a quote from Peyton, and he said, "The very first preseason game, my very first pass, and it was actually I found it like his very first pass or touchdown was to Marvin Harrison."
Dang.
Um, but anyways, he says the very first preseason game, my very first pass, I threw a 5 yard pass, and Marvin Harrison ran 48 yards for a touchdown. I remember thinking the NFL
That's
is
my
easy.
guy.
Yeah, I remember thinking the NFL is easy. You still a short pass, and Marvin Harrison will run for touchdowns.
Hmm. Hmm.
And since then, from 1998 to 2008, Manning and Harrison were the centerpiece of the
Hmm.
Indianapolis Colts, as we know, and they played together for 11 seasons.
Wow.
So no wonder our buddy Brenna D was such a big fan because that dude is a bandwagon of a
Oh yeah. Oh
of a
yeah.
fan. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just in terms of stats. I'll make this one quick. It's just like undisputed best QB wide receiver duo of all time. I don't think any other pairing will beat those numbers
Yep.
unless something crazy happens with Kyler and maybe his son. Shout out to Marvin Harris, Marvin
Dude,
Harrison
that'd be
Jr.
insane. That'd be
Imagine that,
insane.
right? But shout out to him because he's showing, yeah,
Yeah.
this past weekend he went
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah. Two
showed
touchdowns.
big potential. He had like
Hmm.
over 100 yards in like the first quarter or something, or
I
the
think it
first
was like
half.
130
130.
maybe in
Yeah,
the first quarter.
that
Maybe
dude
like
was
it
looking
was insane.
nasty.
It was
He's a
insane. Yeah.
beast.
Yep.
Um, but who would have thought Kyler's return would be like that too? But
Dude,
anyways,
yeah. Yeah.
um, that'd be crazy if his son beats his own record. But
That'd
I
be
don't think
awesome.
any the way like the NFL kind of works right now and like
Yeah.
how it's been with contracts and everything.
Yeah, with the
I
money.
don't think two players are going to be together for 11 seasons.
Hmm.
Um, at least a QB receiver duo like that. So
Yeah.
they really yeah, we're the centerpiece of like what a good QB wide receiver duo is. They just
Hmm.
had a connection. They mentioned like they know the whole playbook just with their eyes closed, and they could complete maybe 9 out of 10 passes with their eyes closed, just for the amount of years of experience that they gained in chemistry. And yeah, they want I don't know how many ships they want actually.
I think they won one.
At
They
least
won
one,
one.
right?
Yep. Yep.
So
They
they're
won
not yeah,
one.
maybe not the most winning
Winning.
duo.
It's hard when you're going against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick though for a lot of your career.
It's hard. Yeah.
Because like
Yeah.
I said, it was like the defensive and offensive was just taken care of.
Right, right. And
Which
who would have
which
thought?
makes
And
it
then
tough.
yeah, and Peyton, they've had a lot of battles. Yeah,
Yeah,
head to head.
yeah,
And Peyton coming out of college, he was like the number one pick, right? And then Tom,
yep. Was
as we
like
know,
back
came out
there.
of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So for that to happen, that truly is a special
That
story.
was that was actually like a pick I was thinking about was Tom Brady and Peyton Manning because I feel like growing up that was just it was like you're either Tom Brady fan or a Peyton Manning fan.
Yeah, head to
And
head, special.
talking about this duo, I was a Peyton Manning fan, so I grew up
Yep.
rooting for Peyton, rooting for Marv, um, and it was really special. I think something that I think all quarterbacks can attest to is having a receiver that is they call it a security blanket
Mm,
is the best feeling because it's like you know them and stuff. Like the whole thing that we're talking about of just trusting and knowing that they're going to be there is extremely valuable with timing, with just being able to get the ball out to a guy you can trust.
yeah,
And that's exactly what Marvin was for Peyton.
yeah,
Okay, so going into my next one, um, I had to throw in a defensive duo here. Um,
yeah.
You got
It's
any thoughts
expected.
on this one?
Defensive duo. I don't know. I don't really think of like defensive duos like a ton. I have no
Okay.
idea.
So right now I just need you to like envision, put yourself in the shoes of a quarterback.
Okay.
The crowd is deafening. Can't hear
Hmm.
anything. The weather is cool, crisp Baltimore air.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
look over your line and you see a wall of a man barking out orders to his D line, calling out the play before you even called it to your offense. A crazy look in his eyes, like a hungry lion that smells blood.
Hmm.
Behind him, you have a hawk stalking its prey, watching your every movement, trying to like read where the routes are going to come. And you know, if you try to run and take off, you're going to get mauled by a lion. And if you throw the ball, it's going to be snatched out of the air by a hawk. And this is exactly what the Ed Reed and Ray
Mm.
Lewis duo was.
Mm.
It was scary. Um, I mean, this is back in the time too where hard hits were allowed, and no one was better at inflicting pain than Ray Lewis
Yeah.
and barking like a crazy animal after it too.
Yeah.
Just scaring the
Yeah.
I remember watching like Ray Lewis highlights as a kid, and like you hear them mic'd up and him just like roaring and
Just him
like
running out the tunnel too.
dude, yeah, him running out the tunnel, like doing his
Insane.
like
No, I figured
dance.
I figured like you pick Ray, but
Mhm.
then I forgot about Ed Reed, honestly, for a
And
second.
that's the thing.
But
It's like
he's
Ray Lewis was the captain. He was the commander. He was the person who set the precedence for that defense. But behind him was one of the best safeties of all time,
mhm.
who even Bill Belichick said the hardest guy to scheme for was Ed Reed
Tom said that
because
too. I think Tom said
yep,
something like that
Tom said
too.
that.
He said
Yep.
he's like the toughest, yeah,
Yep. Because
defensive player to
he
play
could
against.
and it was this goes into like watching film, but he could see how a team lined up, know what like the play that was coming, and just bait the quarterback by going 20 yards this way, making this look completely open, and then just snatching it out of the air. Not
Yeah.
even like seeing like him coming.
Uh-huh.
And he was also an enforcer too. Like if you came over the middle and Ray Lewis missed you, you're getting whacked by Ed Reed, and both aren't going to feel good. And they consistently led one of the most dominant defenses of all time. Like I think as a kid, it was always like the Steelers and the Ravens that probably had like what was thought of as the most dominant defenses.
Mhm.
And I think what made the Ravens
I was
really
thinking
special was
Polamalu for a second too.
Troy Polamalu, James Harrison was that other duo
Mhm.
on the Steelers. And I think what really made this duo special was the intimidation factor that you had going up against these two. I think no receiver, no quarterback was looking forward to a matchup between Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. Um, and together, they won a Super Bowl. They're both first ballot Hall of Famers. Between the two of them, 3 total Defensive Players of the Year, 22 Pro Bowls, and 12 first team All Pro selections. Um, Ray Lewis has the most tackles of all time, um, and added 31 interceptions, 41
How many
sacks,
tackles is
17
that?
force, 1,573 solo tackles. So that's not even assisted tackles,
Jesus.
but purely
Yeah.
solo tackles. He has the
Yeah.
most. Ed Reed has the seventh most interceptions, but
Mm.
his interception return yards, which he was kind of known for, like if he gets a pick, it's going yard, is an NFL record of 1,590 interception return yards. And he a total of 7 defensive touchdowns in his career, which is also a crazy stat. It's really the fear factor between these two and the level of trust that these two had. Ray Lewis, being a defensive player, Ray Lewis doesn't have to think about Ed Reed and stuff like that. He's communicating to his D line, and he trusts that the DBs are going to be good because he has Ed Reed back there commanding the DBs.
Mhm.
And it overall, it's like you got two commanders out there leading a whole defense. It's going to be tough to beat, and it's scary. It's intimidating. Um, and you know, there's a lot of other good defensive players like Terrell Suggs who played with these boys, but I think these two are the pillars. And so,
For sure.
yeah, that's my second pick is Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, the most intimidating duo I think in NFL history.
No, that's a great pick, bro. You got the offense. You got player.
I got offense.
You
I
might
got
go player. Are
defense.
you going player next? Who knows?
Yeah. What's your second pick?
Okay, of course. So this wouldn't be a cart slate if I didn't have a pick that's a bit out of the box. Let's
Yeah.
say it involves a person I saw live in Vegas recently, actually.
Okay. Seeing live in Vegas, instantly I'm thinking Bruno Mars and the Super Bowl halftime show, maybe as a duo.
No, I think that's the greatest Super Bowl halftime performance of all
Yeah.
time. We can do
Yeah.
that. We can do that one later too
Super
on
Bowl
Super Bowl, but
halftime.
no, it's not
Yeah.
that. When we're talking about some of the things that get you hyped for a day of NFL football, a
Mm,
significant part of the experience that many people overlook is the opening theme song as soon as the
yeah.
programming starts,
Yes, sir.
like you played in the beginning.
Yep.
And let me just pull this up real quick. So you got CBS.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the
Yeah, I
horns in
feel like
there.
I'm just like about to like sit down
Yeah.
for hours.
Yeah. You got Fox,
Yep.
the horn section.
Dude, that the horns goes nuts right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Feels like you're like on a horse or something.
However, nothing quite compares to NBC when it's dealing with the
Mm,
opening entrance to Sunday Night Football. So I don't know if you know this, but they actually called up one of the greatest, I think, yeah, the greatest composer of all time to score their opening intro, and that is John Williams.
wow.
So they called
Did
up
not
John
know that.
Williams, the greatest composer of all time, to score an epic fanfare. And that is the Sunday Night Football one here. And there's nothing quite as like patriotic, just hype as this. Yeah.
Mm.
Dude, it gets you juiced for Sunday Night Football. However, so that's not really what I'm talking about here. And let's just get into it. After a few tries making a theme song with artists like Pink and Faith Hill, NBC leaned toward 8-time Grammy Award winning first woman to ever receive the Entertainer of the Year award twice,
Mm.
and the most successful winner of American Idol. Do you know what I'm talking about here?
Yeah, this is Carrie, right?
Yeah, Carrie.
Yep. Carrie
Carrie
goes
Underwood.
crazy. Yep.
Carrie Underwood. And Waiting All Day for Sunday Night.
Yep.
I'm talking about that opening every single Sunday night. Yeah, so they actually filmed in this season rendition of the song. They filmed it at Resorts World in Vegas, where she has her residency actually, and where I actually saw her for the first time earlier this year with Dylan. I mean, she wanted to go, but yeah, and we'll just let it rip right here. But I was
Sure.
impressed. I was impressed by the concert. I'm not gonna lie. But this is Waiting All Day.
There we go.
We
Let's
can
get
live
into it.
react to it too. Just like 5:15, 5:20 in the afternoon. You hear this guitar riff come on.
It's time to go to work. We have to be aggressive.
Yep. You get the intercut of the edits. The team's playing tonight, the head to head. And apparently she edits like the line every week to include whatever matchup we're dealing with.
Sick.
Whether so like here it'd be like Detroit and LA, right? But she adds a little line. Yeah, see rhymes and the lines right there.
Mm.
It's just hype. And she's like the epitome of American Idol, becoming a superstar. You're dealing with the best athletes
American
in
Dream.
America.
Yeah, this is iconic. This is
Yeah.
iconic.
And it's just stuck. Since 12 years ago, it's just stuck. And they filmed different renditions of it and everything, but it's just like this partnership has become huge.
Sheesh.
But anyways, yeah, you don't have to
Waiting all day.
waiting all day.
I love that last note too, like Sunday night. She just holds that thing.
And let's wait. And then Oh, it doesn't have the transition?
Yeah, yeah,
But then
yeah.
actually it goes straight
It goes
so,
straight
let's
into
talk
it.
about transition. It goes straight into the John Williams score. It's like dun, 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 like it
Yep.
transitions straight into it. Then you have the commentator's
And the
voiceover,
commentator's coming over the top.
and you're fucking hyped. Like you're ready
Yep.
to watch that game.
Yep.
There's nothing that quite gets you like more pumped for a
Hmm.
nighttime watch than waiting all day.
Yes,
And this is
sir.
actually a fun fact because we were wondering how much she makes from her song playing every Sunday. Can you guess how much she makes every Sunday? She just so she makes money every time
It
she
plays.
gets yeah, she gets like royalties or whatever, like just for it playing.
I'm gonna go for an ambitious answer on this one. I'll go 50 grand.
Cold, a
So
little
more.
hotter. Yeah.
Dang. 100 grand?
Nope. Dude, she rakes in $1 million per Sunday. So she's
Per
making
Sunday?
so she makes 18 million per season
Jeez.
for 18 weeks. She averages in about a 18 million dollars from waiting all
Jeez.
day
Dang.
for the whole season. So yeah,
Dang.
NBC really invested in her.
Dang.
Just for a song play. I don't know if it's worth that much, brah,
I think
but
it's like the
clearly,
longevity of it though,
but
for her to
clearly, yeah,
continue to keep on doing it after this long.
I guess so. But clearly, it's a duo worth NBC's time.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh
say
yeah.
that.
Oh
So I
yeah.
don't know. But everyone loves this song. The end guitar rip gets you pumped every time. I don't know if you saw, but Carrie actually hops on the drums at the end as well, Bruno Mars
Dang.
style.
Dang.
So proving she's also still an American powerhouse in this country. But no, I was shocked, dude. I wasn't like I didn't know too many Carrie songs going into this concert at Resorts World, but when she was up there, I recognized a few, and dude, she
Mm,
can she can belt it, and she belts it the whole time, and she's such a powerhouse. You almost like people forget about her.
yeah.
So yeah, this is just a little like fun niche pick
Yeah, dude.
that I thought I'd talk about. But of course, you know me, I'm a big like sounds guy and
Yeah.
score and vibes and ambience. But again, the production of these programs,
Oh
football
yeah.
games, a lot goes into it, and they spend obviously a lot of money into it because everyone's watching.
Yeah. Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. I love that. And I think you bring up a good point that after a long day of watching football, it starts to kind of hit a dead period because there's a little
there's a
break, a little
lull. There's a
gap.
lull right
There's a
there.
lull. And
There's a
then
lull.
you need something to get you going, get you back up. And
Yeah,
um this has been just the longevity of this opening theme song has been throughout our whole lives, which you can't even like deny that. I think that's a great pick, dude. I'll move on to my last pick,
yes.
and this one is like up to like interpretation a little bit more than my last two. Um, it's another player, and I touched offense and coach. I touched defense. So when it comes to the game of football, there's only one last area of the game that I've yet to touch, um,
What
which is
player?
special
Player?
teams.
Oh,
Huh?
special teams. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, special teams. And you can't really think of special teams without thinking of who I think of as the GOAT, Adam Vinatieri.
Mm.
And the duo, I mean, you could
Yeah,
do
who's the duo?
holder, long snapper, whatever. But what I'm going to talk about here today is Adam Vinatieri and his major balls in the clutch. It's I'm the
That's
duo
fair.
is Adam Vinatieri and the biggest moments of all time. And because this is the thing with the kicker, and people want to like kind of like joke around about the kicker. Oh, like they're just a kicker. They usually don't look like a football player. They're like just like they look like a normal dude you'd like find on the street usually.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing that people like got to keep in mind with these kickers is your name might not be called much in the game, but when your name is called to make the game-winning field goal, you have to have nerves of steel. Like you can't
Dude,
even like
there's yeah.
think twice. You can't blink.
Yeah. There's not much more like high stake
Yes.
situations I feel
Yes.
than being the game on the line, especially big games on the line,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Everyone's relying on you, everyone's eyes on you. America's eyes are on you, like
Yeah.
literally.
And think about this. Like you think about game winners in basketball. Most of the time, the dudes who are hitting that have been playing the whole game. They're hot. A
Yeah.
kicker has to come out there, sometimes, and for Adam Vinatieri, often in blizzard conditions, and hit
Right.
a game-winning field goal to send them to the Super Bowl, to win
Yeah.
the Super Bowl. And Adam Vinatieri was that guy. He was the guy that like it was because like these moments don't tend to just like happen. Like they have to come to you. And these moments consistently came to Adam Vinatieri, and he continued to just capitalize on them. So some insane statistics. He has 2 Super Bowl, the biggest game, the championship, 2 Super Bowl game-winning kicks. There's only been one
Damn.
other all time. So he has the most Super Bowl game-winning kicks.
Uh-huh.
And this was a 48-yarder and a 41-yarder 2 years apart.
What
So
years were these? What Super Bowls were these?
so the
Again?
first one was Super Bowl, I'm not good with Roman numerals, but I think it's this 36 in 2002. And then the next one was Super Bowl 38 in 2004. The first one against the Rams, and the second one against the Panthers.
And this
And
is all
then
with
all
were
with the
these
Patriots.
Peyton's like
These were all
with
Toms.
with
Yeah,
Tom's?
so
Oh,
he
okay. These are
started off
Tom's
with
really.
Tom Brady.
So he played with like some of the best.
He played with some of
With
the
the
best.
best. Yeah.
And so they like I mean, he was like, blessed in the way that he was always in a situation to be in the Super Bowl to
Uh-huh.
like make these kicks. But the fact that the moment came to him, like the fact
Oh,
that the
so
Super
both of
Bowl,
these were with Tom.
Tom Brady, he
So
helped
Tom
win
owes
Tom Brady's first 2.
wow, bruh.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much he like.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom kind of owes to this guy. Not
Dude,
really
no.
owes, but
No,
well,
but
sort of,
like
pretty
no,
much.
it's critical because then okay, you go into okay, so he helped win Tom's second 2, so his second and third. But then if
Okay.
you look back in some of his most clutch playoff moments, there's the one that's known as the Snow Bowl, which is the 2001 AFC divisional playoff game against the Raiders, um, in which they're pretty much playing through a blizzard. If you watch like the highlights of this kick, you can't even see Adam Vinatieri because it's like a
Yeah.
whiteout. You can't see anything.
I vaguely
And he,
recall watching a highlight like this. But dude, I love.
Mhm.
Can we watch it?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, let's pull it up. So this is Adam Vinatieri's kick to tie and win the tuck rule game. So he hit the kick to send him to OT. You can't even see the ball go
You
through.
can't even fucking see it. Damn, it's a
So that
snowstorm out there.
yeah, it's a blizzard. They're playing through a blizzard. So that was to send it to OT. 27 seconds left. You can see everyone's stoked. I don't even know why they questioned this man, as if he wasn't going to make it. Then in OT, this is to
Wow.
win the game
Literally
in OT.
ice.
Literally ice in his veins.
Literally ice in his veins. This is to win it.
This is to win it.
Time expired.
Well, in OT, it's just they had to score there
Oh, right.
to win the
Back
game.
Yeah.
But the worst conditions, dude. The worst conditions. Like, as a kicker, it's hard to like kick a ball in wind. I can't even imagine trying to kick the ball, see the field goal, get my aim in a blizzard. So he did that in the
That's cold.
in the Snow Bowl game.
Mhm.
So another legendary moment was the longest field goal in playoffs for him was in the 2004 AFC Championship game, where Vinatieri hit a 48-yard field goal in the frigid, cold, snowy conditions to help the Patriots defeat the Steelers on their way to winning the Super Bowl. So
In snow again.
in snow again. So this was just like it was nothing to him. All these conditions and everything, where other kickers would be struggling to other teams might not even kick the ball because of how challenging
for
it
real.
is to kick within a blizzard conditions. But like let's just keep on going through some stats. So Adam Vinatieri has 5 game-winning playoff kicks, which is the most out of any other kicker in NFL history. So he has the most Super Bowl game winners and the most playoff game winners. He has most playoff points in NFL history, including most playoff field goals. He has the most consecutive playoff field goals made, in which he made 13 straight field goals in postseason from 1996 to 2000. He made the most game-winning field goals in regular season history, not including the playoffs. And he's the NFL's all-time leading scorer. So he's scored the most points in NFL history.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yep.
Or
So
just like in terms of like points
points. Yeah.
that
Points.
yeah, that I
Yep.
guess are his.
Yep. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. A lot of kickers kind of get this because every
Yeah.
touchdown you get one and everything,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. That makes
um
sense.
still, like, to have like that's an all-time crazy stat. Like, because like
That
in the
is
NBA, you think of the all-time leading scorer. We
scoring.
like, dude, we went crazy when LeBron won that recently.
Yeah.
And Adam Vinatieri is
Titles.
that guy. He has the scoring title.
That's crazy.
And then when it comes to longevity and consistency, he's been making these types of kicks throughout his career, which was over 24 seasons. 24 seasons in the league, which is dang near our age, bro, which is hard to wrap your head around playing for that long.
Yeah.
Kicking, regardless, being in the NFL for that long is insane.
That's nuts.
Um, he has the most field goals made. He has the consecutive field goals record, not only in the playoffs, but also the regular season, connecting on 44 straight between 2015 and 2016. He has 4 Super Bowl rings, 3 with the Patriots, 1 with the Colts.
See, I remember him like Colts era. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
what like
that's kind
we
of
grew up
where
with.
we grew up. Yep,
Yeah, so that's
exactly.
why. Yeah,
Yep. And he was huge for the Colts too.
huge.
Right here, at the age of 45, Vinatieri was still able to had that clutch gene in him where he nailed a 51 game winner against the San Francisco 49ers in
Yeah,
2018, which just shows his enduring ability to step up in these big moments and hit kicks that people don't believe that he's going to hit. Because at the age of 45, I don't think much people were thinking a 51-yard game winner is within his leg power.
yeah.
But it's Adam freaking Vinatieri, and the dude has balls of steel. And so that's my case for Adam Vinatieri and his major balls
Major
being
balls.
one of the best duos of all time.
Love it. Love the pick. No, Vinatieri's iconic. Okay, on to my last pick. And I really like this one. This is the one I probably dove into most with like the research and everything, and
Nice.
just reflecting and just like remembering a time, at least from my childhood and what I saw, and what made me think like, wow, like yeah, like this game. I know it's a game,
Hmm.
like the football is a game and everything, but it can be a lot bigger than just a game. Um, so I'll preface it with this. But here we have a guy, a captain, a hero who helped bring a city back to life, claim on air that in fact it was a city that saved him. Do you have any guesses?
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I'm
this
talking
is
about
this is
here.
Drew Brees
Yeah.
and Katrina.
Yeah. Yeah. Drew Brees and the New Orleans
Yep.
Saints.
Yep.
He is the heart and soul of the New Orleans Saints. And then that is Drew Brees. Yeah. So a little bit of history. After getting drafted by the Chargers from Purdue in 2001, he kind of had a tough, a rough start there, a rough few years there. And after that, in 2005, he suffered a significant shoulder injury, torn labrum and rotator cuff.
Mm.
So they're like in the final game of the season, actually. So leaving doubts about his future. And so that's why, the Chargers ended up going with Phillip Rivers
Mhm.
instead. And he kind of faded into the background. Shortly after that, Hurricane Katrina happened in 2005 and was one of the most destructive and deadliest hurricanes in U.S. history. Devastated the city of New Orleans. And it was actually during Hurricane Katrina in 2005 that the Louisiana Superdome became a shelter of last resort. So I don't know if you remember seeing clips of this, but for around 10,000 to 15,000 people who couldn't evacuate New Orleans, this became the shelter of last resort. So everyone kind of fled and like hurried into the facility. And it quickly became overwhelmed with roof damage leading to leaks, power outages, and failing sanitation. It's just an overflow of like sewage. Crowded conditions, extreme heat, food and water shortages worsened the situation, creating a desperate environment. And from there, violence broke out. A lot of people thought this would be the last time they saw the Superdome. They thought it was just going to be the end of it, There's
Mhm.
just going to be a knockdown. So yeah, it was during 2005 when Drew was at his lowest career wise, just like, who knows? No one knew of his future or what would come of it.
Yep.
And of course, New Orleans was at its lowest, and it's one of the greatest, or not the greatest, the worst natural disasters ever to hit America. That's when he stepped in, and and Sean Payton believed in him, and the New Orleans Saints picked him up, and he joined the Saints in 2006. Not long at all after Hurricane Katrina devastated the city. So then we fast forward to September 25th, 2006, and this is the first time the Superdome reopened post Katrina. And the environment's just, electric. The rise again of the Superdome and the Saints and the city going back to normalcy after months of just recovery. And they're still recovering at this point too. But September 25th, 2006, the Saints defeated the Atlanta Falcons 23-3. And this victory was a significant and emotional moment for the city of New Orleans, symbolizing a return to normalcy, like I said, and a step forward in the city's recovery from the Hurricane Katrina. Yeah, it's just simple. His arrival, coupled with the team's rise to prominence, symbolized the rebirth of both the franchise and the city. In the first season, 2006, Brees stepped in, led the Saints to the NFC Championship game during a league-leading 4,418 yards. And then he first earned his first Pro Bowl selection with the Saints. He delivered the Saints to their first and only Super Bowl in 2010, actually against Peyton Manning and the Indianapolis Colts franchise. And yeah, he stayed there for 15 years. He's the second highest in career passing yards, second highest in touchdowns, and the first in completion percentage, being 67.7%, which is the NFL record. And yeah, in the GOAT conversation, a lot of people kind of leave his name out, kind of forget about him, but this dude was a beast of a quarterback, and he was a leader. This is the clip where he got interviewed about, like, they're interviewing before the Super Bowl in 2010. And I know this interviewer is like saying shit like, oh, what if you guys lose? Like, about the city. But he was like, oh, do you think, and then she asked, like, oh, do you think you saved the city of New Orleans? And he was saying, no, I believe like the city of New Orleans saved me. Because a lot of people, I didn't actually realize, at what point of his career he was at this point when he joined the Saints in 2006.
Yeah.
And then they asked, like, oh, what if you lose? And he's like, oh, I feel like, we have more than just the city. We have all of America and a lot of people rooting for us we have fate, destiny itself, for us to win the Super Bowl. So he made this thing like he was a saint in more than one way. Let's just say that. And he was just a beacon and a symbol for the city. And talk about a fan base that rose up with him too. Yeah, we can talk about his post-career as well, but yeah, again, this dude is like the Captain America of American football. And it shows too. I do want to play some of these clips here. He has one of the greatest pregame chants of all time.
Yep. Oh yeah. Dude, that's awesome.
Just such an honorable player. And I just sent you a text message again for I want to show you this one, like, who dat fist pump drop that I think shows the connection again between just this guy, this captain, this QB, and the city that went through a lot of trauma. It just erupts. Awesome. The Superdome erupts just with one. He raises his fist like freaking Caesar from Planet of the Apes,
bro.
Like Gladiator.
It's like Gladiator.
One strike down, and the whole city's with him, man.
Yep.
And they rode on the back of Drew Brees to the 2010 championship, regained so much hope. Yeah, again, his connection with New Orleans and the Saints was much more than just football. And what's even more impressive, the amazing thing is, like, even after his career ended, he remained such a beacon and a symbol for the city, providing millions for the city through the Brees Dream Foundation. And he was clearly, he's obviously an active participant in volunteer work and the city's recovery and rebuilding initiatives. It was in his words that he said, it was more than just football. It's quote unquote about the rebuilding, the resurgence, and the resurrection of one of America's greatest cities. So man, like the connection this guy had with the city, what he did for New Orleans, what New Orleans did for him, it's an iconic duo, and it's one that will remain in my memory and just in my heart
Yes,
for a
sir.
while. Just seeing that on TV, I remember as a kid, it really showed me that yeah, this is the NFL, like football games, like professional sports can be way more than just a game.
Yeah.
It extends way past that. So it's actually an
Yeah.
amazing story, like what this guy
Yeah,
did for the
man.
city and what they did for him.
It's
Yeah,
deep. It's
yeah,
deep. And, I think the whole aspect of rebirth is like the kind of like the common theme here. Drew Brees meant so much to the city, but from the words of Drew Brees and just evident of his career and his actions, the city meant so much to him as well.
yeah,
Um, it was his opportunity to prove himself, and I don't remember him on the Chargers, but I remember like during that time of the Super Bowl and everything, watching like the footage of him there and stuff, like going through his early career struggles, give and being given up on. That's not a good feeling for
yeah,
anyone, when someone loses hope on you and moves on from you. It's one of the most heartbreaking things to go through. And then to have like a city rally behind you, I can't even imagine what that gave to Drew Brees to kind of step into that role, become the
yeah.
leader he was always born to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that 2010 Super Bowl, it was destiny.
It was
And,
destiny.
and I think like I said, I was a Colts fan, but when you're playing against an extreme level of faith and destiny,
Yeah,
it's really hard to match. And so Drew Brees, yeah, I agree. He's one of the most slept on and underrated GOATs of all time. But I think what makes him truly special, kind of similar to Tom Brady, but they went through early struggles
yeah.
where people counted them out. And
Mm-hmm.
he, with the willpower, proved everyone wrong. That was a good one, dude. Let's get into the winning duos for each of
Oh,
us.
right, right.
And I can start off, and I think for me, really just your last duo there with Drew Brees and the city of New Orleans, and just how they both gave to each other and elevated each other from the depths, from you know being kicked down into the dirt and really just beaten up, and they really raised each other back into like a high level. And I think that duo right there is a perfect example of what makes the NFL really impactful. The fact that it could give a city hope, it could give a city faith in something outside of what's going on with their current situation. I think says everything about the power of the NFL and the power that this game can have within America. That
Yeah,
through heartbreak, it can help to raise people's hopes again. So that's definitely my winning duo for today.
yeah. I mean, the story is a story, but it's a movie, right? Like
Yeah. Yep.
what these two went through. Just thinking about the story, the impact, the trauma, the loss on both sides, both as an individual, yeah, and as a city. And the way
Hmm.
that they rose up together, bro, is so inspiring, bro. And it gives me chills. Yeah, just
Yeah.
watching some of those clips the other night, or even just last night. Yeah, it was like giving me chills just thinking about, brought me back to a time. Yeah, seeing that on TV, it was like one of the most
Hmm.
inspiring things I think I've seen. And yeah, it was hard not to root for them
Yep.
in that 2010 Super Bowl.
Totally.
Um, Even though there's a lot of Colts fan, but it's like, yeah, it's like destiny
Yep.
kind of happened. Like it's crazy. It's crazy story. And that one definitely hits the heart.
Yep.
But like you said, your picks, you've had, yeah, again, very strong, clear best powerhouse duos on all fronts of the game, really, right? You
Yeah.
used to have offensive, you had best coach and player, best defensive duo for sure. And I loved your pick with Vinatieri and the balls of
His
steel
magic
because, yeah,
balls
you
of
forget about
steel.
it's nasty. And I'm glad you brought in
Yeah.
a kicker
Yep.
into the picks as well. But yeah, I agree. It's hard not to hard to
Yeah.
deny just the power and
Yeah.
just the yeah, just it's cool to see that, and it proves again that yeah, the NFL, like you said, and football, it can be seen as just a game to a lot of people, but
Yeah.
nah, to like America and to especially the city of New Orleans and to
Yeah.
it's much more than just a game. It was such a
Hmm.
symbolic sign of hope and moving
Hmm.
forward, and
Hmm.
it was such it was an American moment. It was an
Yeah.
American moment in history, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just to send everyone out. Yeah, this is the NFL dynamic duos. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like we said, I hope you guys like found joy, whether you're a football fan, an NFL fan, or not. I hope you guys found some of these picks really interesting and impactful. I think Carter did a great job going into all the different facets of the NFL that make it really the NFL, and really what makes the NFL so impactful and powerful. If you guys have any other duos you guys could think of that you guys think can top any of these, please throw it in the comments. We would love to hear from you guys, or maybe just shout out what picks you guys liked, what you guys found interesting. All comments are ones that we appreciate and we'll try to get back to as well. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're listening to any listening platform that you guys listen to, please give us a follow so you guys don't miss out on more of these debates, competitions, and then or just normal conversations and some interviews going forward in the future. Yeah, Carter,
yes, sir.
what do you guys say
No,
to?
I mean you said it perfectly. No, thanks for yeah trusting me with a topic like this. I know
Of
I'm
course,
probably gonna
dude.
get some flack for some of the some things I didn't know or some stats I think maybe forgot about or oversaw. But no, I love thank you for bringing up this topic,
Bruh.
and
Yeah, you killed it,
I love
bro.
talking about it. And it brought back some great memories and some great feelings of
Yeah.
just surrounding football and the game that you played most of your life. So yeah, it was an honor talking with you about the NFL and football, brother. And
Yes, sir.
yeah, I hope everyone can take something from this podcast today.